Billy, as you look at last night's game, or really any game, are you noticing maybe opportunity costs, like missed opportunities to be able to take a larger lead? I think about that first quarter when, with the turnovers and the second chances, you guys could have really carved out a nice lead in that portion of the game.
Well, I think that's what generally creates momentum, either for or against, is when you either have opportunities you miss out on or you capitalize on opportunities. So, certainly to start the game, getting down 9-0 was not good, and a lot of that was attributed to what you said. I think we had 3 turnovers relatively early in the game, and then that third quarter we made a lot of great plays, opportunity-wise, got stops, got on the break, made some hustle plays, and we were able to build a lead. But that's what's going to happen in games. There's going to be momentum swings going back and forth, and when the momentum is going back and forth like that, you got to find a way to kind of stop it. And a lot of times turnovers are something that can kind of get another team on a run.
With Favors, and if he continues to play in that second group, what are you guys going to have to do from a gang rebounding perspective to deal with that?
Well, we need to do a better job rebounding the basketball. There was plenty of opportunities for us, on film where we had him sandwiched, we had him blocked out, and we need to go up and rebound the basketball better. There were times we got caught on rotation where we got some guards that got caught down on him because we're in rotation. And then there were some times where he, really kept the ball alive on the glass. He missed a couple of tip-ins and putbacks, and he got it back, 2 or 3 times. And we've got to battle, up front better in certain spots than we did.
On Utah's adjustment to defending Paul George, was there anything particular that you noticed that was really different, or was it just a case of the ball not going through the hoop as much as it did in Game 1 for him?
I go back to what I said after Game 1. I said we needed to play better, and I think what happens sometimes is you see a night like Paul had in Game 1, and no one really talks about the difficulty and how hard those shots are and were, and that's who he is. It's what has made him who he is, and not that all of them were hard, but he got into a really, really good rhythm, and when he got some good looks, even the real tough ones were going to go in. But you can't live by missing or making shots. You got to live by the controllable things that you can, know that you can do possession by possession. Last night's a perfect example of that. The ball did not go in the basket very well for us, in particular in the fourth quarter. But there's still other things that we can do to offset that when that happens. And that was my point in Game 1, saying we needed to play better, is I was not blinded by the fact that the ball was going in the basket at such a high level. I was more looking at the things we had control over that we were not doing well enough and needed to do better.
Billy, not to make an excuse for Paul or an injury, but how important is his health to the way he plays defense and the way you've seen him play defense this season?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's battled the last few days. I think I said, he wants to be out there. He's a tough guy. He's a competitive guy. He's never going to make excuses. I think he knows that when he goes out there, like I give him respect. In Game 1, he came to me and said, he said, Coach, like, I'm not helping us right now. Just get me off the floor. So he always puts the team first. With that being said, he's not the kind of guy that's going to come to me and say, hey, listen, I'm not moving well enough, or I don't feel like I can defend like I'm capable. He knows when he's out there, he's going to try to do the job to the best of his ability. Are there things that he's probably dealing with? Yeah, absolutely, there probably are. Is he talking about it? No, he's never said anything to me about it.
Does the injury he have, the injury he has right now, does it lend itself more to him defending a guy like Joe Ingles as opposed to Donovan Mitchell?
Oh, I don't know. That would be so hard for me to say. I mean, I think defense is defense. You're down in the stance. You're going to have to move laterally, up, back. I don't want to say the injury enables him to guard Ingles or Mitchell better than the other. I don't know what that is. To what point he's being hampered by it. He's probably the better guy to ask about it.
It seemed like it's probably a game that was more to their pace. How do you pick up where it suits you maybe a little bit more transition things? Is that just a lack of rebounding? Is that the big issue there?
Rebounding definitely hurt us. I thought we had a lot of possessions in the game offensively where they were aggressive, they were physical, they were disruptive, they broke flow, they broke our rhythm. They did a good job in that. I thought in that third quarter we played with a better tempo and a better pace. It was similar to Game 1. The second half's difference from Game 1 to Game 2 was the ball went in the basket at a higher level.
Billy, we talk about those things that you can control. When you're playing a team like they are, that's so tough to score against inside, and your outside shots aren't falling, what are those offensive things that you can rely on?
Well, if you miss a shot, it's more to me predicated on was it a good shot or a bad shot. You know, like there was some shot, like Paul had a couple wide open shots in the second half that were great looks. The ball didn't go in the basket. You know, he also had a 3-point play in the first half where he got fouled and he banked it in. You know, he probably had no right of going in. So, like, it's more to me about what kind of shots you're generating. Are they coming inside the rhythm and the flow of what you're trying to do offensively? So it's about making good choices. And I thought we had, you know, possessions in the game throughout the course of the game that we probably needed to, you know, do a better job of moving the ball and executing at a better level.
Speaking
Billy,
of
they've
those,
scored 100 points in 2 games in the paint. What has to change in order for them not to be near as effective?
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. One is, you know, our defense was the #1 rated defense last night. So we did a good job defensively. I'm more concerned the fact that we gave up a lot of corner 3-point shots last night. You know, Favors made, I think, 3 out of the corner. You know, they're a team that is going to drive the ball hard, and they're going to be aggressive, and then offensive rebounding, and all those things kind of add up. You know, you can sell out and totally take away the paint, and then by totally taking away the paint, you're going to be vulnerable to 3-point line. So there's a balance there, and I think for us, schematically, defensively, there's things that go into trying to defend both of those areas, defending the deep paint and the 3-point line at the same time. Those are things that are difficult to do. There's times we did it well, but like our defensive numbers, the way our team graded out yesterday was very, very good. But there's certainly areas that I looked at that, you know, neither team probably shot the ball at a level that they're capable of.
Billy, specifically with the corner threes, that's been a game all year. I think you guys led the league in corner threes against.
Yep.
Why is that? Why has that persisted?
Well, anytime you're in rotation, you know, anytime you're in rotation, you know, when you're rotating, when you're sending 2 to the ball, whether it's a drive or pick and roll coverage, and the ball's starting to come downhill to the rim, generally you're having to rotate from a bottom guy, and a lot of times that's leaving the corner open. You know, it can be, you know, it's like the game they went on a play and trapped, you know, Paul George. He threw the ball right to the middle of the floor to Jeremy. Jeremy turned around and threw it right to, you know, Raymond to the corner. So they're a really good passing team, highly skilled players. You know, Quinn does a great job of putting them in different spacing situations to, you know, try to take advantage of them shooting corner threes. But the only way to get corner threes is through passes. You know, it's really hard to run a play to get a corner 3. It's all based on passing rotations, and most corner 3s. That happens in transition. You know, you run it down, a guy runs the floor and gets to the corner. But in the half court, generally those corner 3s are coming off of some kind of penetration or 2 being placed on the ball.
So the whole league wants to try to get Rudy Gobert away from the basket.
I'm sorry?
The whole league would like to figure out how to get Gobert away from the basket. What can you do to try to get him a little farther out in space to open up?
Well, I
the
mean,
basket?
at times, you know, on certain guys he came up a little bit higher. Certain guys he was back a little bit lower. You know, if you play with you know, a guy like Jeremy, I thought when Stephen Fowler did a good job, he drove him a little bit to the basket and got to the front of the rim. But he, you know, Utah's going to make those decisions on, you know, where they want to place him and where they want to put him. You know, a lot of times it's not necessarily in your control of how they space him. You know, you put 5 shooters out there. You know, it may you know, create a dilemma for him. But then you got to worry about the other end of the floor. You know, rebounding his roles and those kind of things. So, I think against them or any team that's good defensively, I think the more you can move them around, the more you can create ball movement and player movement, I think that gives you a better chance. I thought at times he did a pretty good job playing downhill and attacking him, but that's what makes him who he is. That's what makes him such a good defensive player, is because his ability to protect the paint, protect the rim.
What worked well last night? That 19-0 run came with Steven on the bench with the fouls. What was working so well offensively during that stretch?
We got some stops. I thought we got on the break. I thought we got some penetration. We got some kickouts. You know, we had a lot of action going to the rim. But I think a lot of it probably stemmed from we went on a run where we had a lot of consecutive possessions where they didn't score. And there was a lot of live ball rebounds that kind of got us on the run, and the floor was broken, and they probably weren't matched up correctly. And then when they did get matched, I thought we did a good job kind of attacking and playing downhill.
Billy, Ingles hasn't run that much pick and roll comparatively to how he did during the regular season, and not that much dribble handoff stuff. Was that a big focus for you guys, just trying to take that away from them?
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to guard the actions that they're going to run. and that you're right, they do have him in a lot of different situations, especially in transition when the ball's in his hands. I'd like to kind of come screen for him. They'll run a lot of different kind of pin downs for him to get him to the top to play in pick and roll. He did some, at times I think we did a good job of being aggressive and trying to be physical at the point of screens to try to take some of that away. Like I've always said about him, I mean, he's a really, really good three-point shooter, but I think probably maybe a part of him that maybe he's not talked about a lot is he's a really good feel of how to play, and he's a really good passer. So, just trying to maintain, us being connected to him and trying to maintain, help where we can provide help.
Bill, you talk about, if you put some extra shooters out there, there's a trade-off there defensively, but you can give them some challenges. Does that make you think about Alex more or Patrick more, or do you evaluate those things? You
do, but I mean the other thing too is do you end up going really small and having Steven off the floor? You're looking at that, and Steven certainly has been a vital key to our team all year long. I think we've had enough shooting out there. Quite honest, I think we've gotten pretty good looks. I mean, Jeremy, I felt bad for him. He had a really, really, great pass by Russell in the corner. We were down by 4. I think maybe a little bit more than a minute to go. That would have cut it to 1. We had a couple of possessions. Carmelo, I thought Russell made a great kick out to him. He had an opportunity to cut it to 1 as well. There were some opportunities that we had that we didn't convert on, and they had their opportunities and they did convert. So I felt comfortable with the guys that were out there and the shots that we were getting, the shooting that was out there. We just probably didn't shoot the ball at a great clip from behind the line. But either today, I thought the difference in the game was they hurt us in the glass. The free throw line was a big discrepancy there for us. And then I think the other part was I thought the turnovers in the first half hurt us.
Obviously, this is very situational, and we can't answer it for every single circumstance that this happens. But Jeremy gets the ball late in the game. He's got a wide open 3. He's shot the ball better from 3 lately, but he's had tons of success driving, getting to the line, and that kind of stuff. Is that something where he often shoots when he's in those scenarios? He's wide open and there's nobody near him. Is that something where you'd like to see him penetrate some more?
No, the one I would have liked. One I would have liked was I think that there was maybe the score may have been tied. It was in transition. He was on the run and he took a 3 out of the right corner. Crowder was running to him. That probably was one. Those are hard shots when you're on the run catching it. It wasn't a bad shot. It wasn't like he wasn't open, but that may have been one on a closeout that he probably should have taken that one. The one that Russell threw to him, he needs to take that, because what happens is when you're that wide open, you don't shoot the ball. Now the floor gets really stuck, and then you're sitting there taking a shot that you would have said, okay, if we could have gone back 6 seconds or 8 seconds, we would have taken that shot. So a wide open corner 3 by just about anybody on our team, we're going to feel pretty good about that.
Last night, Ray said that he wasn't real concerned about the slow starts. It's just kind of playoff basketball because everybody makes a run. But how concerned are you 2 games in a row at getting off these slow starts?
Well, I mean, we've responded, which has been the encouraging part. In both games we've responded, but certainly you want to start the game, much better than we have the first 2 games here at home. You want to get off to a good start. But clearly that hasn't, it's not like it's been the first quarter is doomed, either team. There's been runs like Ray has said. There's so many possessions. We called timeout. I think it was 9-0, and maybe within a minute and a half, the score was 9-7. It was 16-4, and then in the game 1, and then at the end of the first quarter, it's 25-all. So you don't want that to happen. You want to get off to a good start. You want to play well, but you also have to anticipate there's going to be runs in the game, and the game's going to go back and forth.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.